Okay, 36. Hey everybody, this is Jared Scarlata, and this is episode 36 of Thrive TV. Today we're going to continue our core training series. Last week we talked about anti-extension exercises. Today we're going to talk about anti-lateral flexion exercises. So anti-lateral flexion sounds fancy. Really all it means is trying to train yourself from going side to side, laterally, side to side. So what a lot of people do for these kinds of exercises to work your obliques are things like Russian twists and side crunches, and I imagine there are other things like that they do. However, last time we talked about doing repeatedly doing things like crunches, side crunches, and lateral twists puts compression forces on your spine, which you don't want, because over time when you do a lot of those things, that's when you have spine back issues. That's when they start to develop, when you do repetitive motions like this and like this and like this. So what we're going to teach you to do today is to train your lateral anti-lateral flexion movement, or anti-lateral flexion movement the way that it's supposed to be trained, the way that your body actually utilizes it in real life. Okay? So like I said, anti-lateral flexion is just teaching your body not to move side to side. So if you think of that in real life, it's carrying things, essentially. For the most part, it's carrying things and pushing things. If you are pushing a thing from the side like this, even if you're pushing forward, you're still using your obliques and your glutes to help stabilize. Your lateral the things that help you stay stable laterally are your obliques, which are on your side, and then also your glute and other muscles, hip flexors and things that attach on your side as well. But your glutes and your obliques that help stabilize you from going side to side. Like we talked about last week, your glutes and your lats are also part of your core, which people don't appreciate as much. However, most people train their lats and sort of their glutes, but to be able to train them in congruence with everything else is important as well when you're doing core work. So anyway, today we're going to go over 3 exercises and 2 progressions of 2 of the exercises. Okay, so we're going to do side planks first. Everyone knows what a side plank is, but again, we want to show you how to be able to use it to utilize every part of your core. Then we're going to do a side plank progression, and then we're going to do something on the cable machine we call half kneeling anti-rotation holds, and then we're going to do the progression of that, and then we're going to do a suitcase carry at the end, which is the ultimate functional exercise in that you're walking and carrying a weight. Seems goofy, but for most people the right side is perfectly fine, and then when we switch to the left side, your body has no clue what to do. So we'll go over that when we get to it. Let's start with side planks first, and then we'll go from there. So Sharon's going to help us again today. We're going to start on our right side. That'll work? Yeah, that'll be perfect. So let's, for the first one, tuck your feet back for me, okay? So what we're going to do is cut her down. So for most people, side plank is legs straight. Go ahead and straighten your legs out for me. For most people, this is where you want to get to, legs straight so that you're planking with your whole body. However, with a lot of people, especially when you begin side planks, most people can plank, normal plank, pretty well from the beginning, but most people can't side plank very good because they don't have a lot of strength on this side. Whenever they side plank on this side, go ahead and get yourself up in plank position like that, but just kind of sit your butt back and roll your shoulder forward and just make it look bad. So this is what a lot of people side plank how they look, because they just don't have the stability in their core to be able to actually stabilize themselves. So what you want to do, go ahead and relax and then come to your knees again, tuck your feet back. Just cut yourself down so that you don't have to stabilize as much. So you're basically eliminating the lower part of your body so that you don't have to stabilize all the way through your feet. So go ahead and get your hips up, bring your hips forward. So this will help you get this part of the movement, not that it's a movement, but this part of the exercise down so that you're still teaching yourself to stabilize through your obliques and through your glutes, but you don't have to stabilize all the way down through your feet. All right? So let's go ahead and get into normal side plank position, legs nice and straight. We want to make sure that your feet are stacked, okay? And pretend like you're shooting out of a cannon. Notice her arms stacked here, her shoulders are in line right here, her hips are in line with her ankles and her shoulders, okay? Glutes are nice and tight, core is nice and tight. That way, we're actually using all the muscles that we use to stabilize laterally. Go ahead and relax for a second. Like I said, a lot of people, what they do whenever they can't do that correctly is sit their hips back and roll their shoulder forward because they just don't have the strength. Okay? If you don't have that, tuck your feet back, get yourself on your knees, work up to 30. We'll go over our reps with that in a second, our reps and our times. But work yourself up to be able to do this foot all the way up to your shoulders. Okay? So our progression that we're going to go over after our side plank is a side plank reach, okay? And a side plank reach is just a side plank in motion. So last time we did planks, push-up planks and shoulder taps, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And a shoulder tap was just a plank in motion. So today we're going to do a side plank in motion, okay? Having to stabilize yourself as you go through motion. So she's going to get herself up into side plank position, nice and straight, glutes tight, core tight, feet stacked. And then she's going to take this hand, and what she's going to do is throw it in, reach inside, get a good pivot on her shoulder right here, and then up to the sky, okay? And then she'll reach inside, good pivot on the down shoulder, and up to the sky. Go ahead and give me 3 more like that. Okay? Notice as she reaches up, she's getting herself back in line, okay? She's going to come a little bit out of line as she reaches in, but when she comes back up to the sky, she's getting herself back in line. Go ahead and relax. All right? So that's good progression from side planks. All right? Progression. So you would start with side planks and then move to side plank reaches. All right? So the next thing that we're going to go over, go ahead and swing yourself over to the cable here. We can face the front door, all right? The next thing we're going to go over is half kneeling anti-rotation hold, and then we're going to go over our anti-rotation press after that. All right, so any fitness center has some sort of cable machine like this where the arm is adjustable up and down. So what you want to do is set the arm so that it's about chest height, okay? We're going to start with a relatively moderate light weight, because again, most people have a hard time stabilizing laterally. So we're going to put 2 hands on our handle. This is just a normal handle. 2 hands on our handle, start in the middle of your chest in towards you, okay? And then we want to make sure that we're lined up. So we want this front foot to be in line with your back knee, okay? And then we want this back toe to be up in sprinter stance, just like this. So we don't want it laying flat, all right? We want it up in sprinter stance, okay? Once we're ready to go, we're going to extend our arms as long as we can, drive our elbows in tight, keep our shoulders away from our ears so we don't want them tucked up like this, okay? Keep our elbows in tight. That's going to help engage our lats, and squeeze this inside glute as hard as you can, okay? And that's going to help stabilize you. So she's having to stabilize here from the weight pulling her this way, okay? And then she's also having to stabilize on this inside leg. Go ahead and relax. Stabilize on this inside leg from pulling her to the side, all right? Whenever you do this, your inside knee to the cable is always down, okay? Inside knee to the cable is always down, all right? So now we're going to go to the press, all right? So we're going to do the same. We're going to get the same setup. We're going to have 2 hands on our handle. Our front foot will be lined up with our back knee. Back toe will be in sprinter stance, up nice and tall, core nice and tight, rib cage down, and extend, pause, and back in. Extend, pause, and back in. Now, you would think this is easier than the hold, and it is easier than the hold if you allow it to be. So what a lot of people will do whenever they first do this exercise is just fly in and out as fast as they can, okay? Which there's no trick to that. You're just going in and out. So the point of the exercise is to be able to stabilize yourself in a controlled motion. So that's why we go through the hold first to teach yourself to stabilize, and then we're going through our press, okay, in a controlled out, pause, in, pause, out, pause, in, pause motion. Go ahead and relax. That way you're having to stabilize at different parts of the weight distribution. Weight's harder out here, harder to stabilize with your arms extended than it is to stabilize with your arms in. And then you're also getting that in-between stabilization as well, okay? So remember, inside knee to the cable is down, front foot's in line, back toes in sprinter stance, up nice and tall, rib cage is down. So you don't want to be extended back like this, okay? And you also don't want this back knee to be way behind you. It should sit right underneath you, okay? So you don't want it to be, go ahead and scoot it back, way back for me. Good. So you don't want to be extended. You don't want this hip extended like this. You can't see this side very well. Switch your knees for me just so they can see. There you go. Switch your legs so they can see your, there you go. Okay? So if this were the inside leg, you don't want to have this big extension in your hip right here. You want to make sure that this knee, go ahead and get yourself into normal position. Okay? You want to make sure that this knee sits right underneath your hip. Okay? And again, this glute is nice and tight so that it's stabilizing you going from side to side. All right, so we've done side plank reach, half kneeling cable hold, half kneeling cable press, and then our last one is suitcase carry. And so with our suitcase carry, like I said, this is almost the ultimate anti-lateral flexion exercise because you're having to move while stabilizing through your core, through your glutes, all the way up through your body. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry with one hand for a distance and then carry the other hand for a distance, okay? So number one, you want to pick up the weight correctly, all right? It's easy to hurt yourself doing silly things like picking up weights for an exercise incorrectly that you shouldn't be getting hurt on. So number one, we want to pick up the weight correctly. So we're going to set ourselves up right next to the kettlebell. All right, back nice and flat. Good hinge in your hips so we can make sure that we pick it up with your core nice and tight, okay? She's gonna stand up nice and tall, okay? From here, she wanna make sure that the weight doesn't completely rest on her leg, so it's not just dragging on her leg as she's walking. It's okay to touch, but you don't want it resting on your leg, okay? So you wanna have to stabilize through your shoulder just a little bit, okay? You all right?
Ring was hurting.
Oh, okay. I thought it was already killing her. I'm like, we can get you a smaller one.
It's fine.
We're good?
Yep.
All right. So from here, what she's going to do is find a line in front of her. Luckily here, we kind of have lines that you can see. If you can't see a line, pretend like there's a tightrope in front of you and walk down the tightrope. Now, you don't have to go heel to toe in the sense that your feet have to touch like this. However, you should walk heel, toe, heel, toe. Go ahead and swing around and come back. Switch your hands. Yep, that's good. Okay? So you should walk heel, toe, but they don't have to touch like this. So you're walking right down the line, walking heel to toe. She switched her hands, so now her body has to understand that the weight's in the other hand again. So what you'll realize is even if you're left-handed, for the most part, your right hand will be pretty comfortable. When you switch to your left hand, your body doesn't know what's going on because if you're right-handed, and again, for the most part, even if you're left-handed, you can set it down for a sec. Even if you're left-handed, it's a right-hand dominant world, so we just do things right-handed. So our body understands the right-hand pattern. Our body doesn't understand the left-hand pattern. So you'll find that the left hand is just a lot harder to do with your right hand. You might be able to hold a lot heavier weight with your right hand, but the left hand might not be able to keep up. So you want to be able to pretty much do the same weight with both hands. You don't want to do a heavy weight with your right and then a lighter weight with your left because you want that left hand to be able to get close to your right hand. It'll never be the same. The strength will never be the same on your left pattern as it is on your right. However, you want it to get up. You don't want it to stay staggered like that, okay? So, again, important points. Number one, picking the weight up and putting it down correctly. Number two, walking in a line, okay? That's important, walking in a line, because it really helps you focus on your hip stabilization whenever you're going right down a line instead of having your feet wide outside of your hips. So walking straight down the line and then walking heel to toe. Whenever we walk, we should walk heel to toe. So we want to make sure that when we're doing a carry progression that we're walking heel to toe as well. All right? So That covers our side plank reach, our hold, our press, and our carry, okay? Very simple. You can put any of these exercises in anywhere. The suitcase carry is the only one that I might tell you to do a little differently, but you can put them in at the beginning of your exercise, beginning of your routine, or at the end of your routine, or throw them in with your cardio. It all depends on what you're trying to get out of it in that instance. So number one, it's important to always do it correctly. Once you know you can do it correctly, then it's okay to throw it into a cardio setting. So with side planks and with half kneeling holds, you want to start with 15 seconds, work your way up to 30 seconds with the hold and 30 seconds with the side plank on each side. If you have to tuck your feet back on your side plank, do the same thing. Start with 15 seconds, work your way up to 30 seconds, doing 3 sets of each side. Okay, and then you can move to your press, your half kneeling press, and your side plank reach. Okay, with those two exercises, you want to start with 8 presses and 8 reaches on each side. Add one a week until you get to 12. From that point on the cable, you can add more weight. As far as the side plank reach itself goes, the only thing you can really do is add reps or add sets. So that's up to you. With your carry, like I said, it's the only one you might want to do a little different. You might not want to put this, I take that back. You can put it in anywhere you want to put it. It's something that you want to be able to eventually do a heavier weight on, but you don't want to start really heavy. Okay, number one, a lot of your grips will probably be worse than you expect them to be. And number two, like I said, your left hand versus your right hand is going to be a lot different. So you want to start with a moderate weight, and then when you get comfortable, work up to a heavier weight. So like I said, you want to work for a distance. Depending on how your training space is laid out, you can do distance or time. Okay, distance or time. So very simply start with the weight, hold it for 30 seconds, add 10 seconds a week until you get to 60 seconds, and then go up and wait. So it should be 30 seconds on each side, add 10 seconds a week on each side until you get to 60 seconds on each side, and then go up and wait. Okay? So you want to do 3 sets of all those things whenever you're doing them. Progress them as you get comfortable with them. Make sure you're doing them right. All right? So next week we'll finish up our core training series with something. I already forget the ones that we've gone over. So we've done planks, we've done anti-extension, anti-lateral flexion. So anti-flexion is the last one that we're going to do. Okay, anti-flexion. All right, so that's training your core musculature of your back, which a lot of people have trouble doing, or they do, again, exercises that they maybe shouldn't be doing. So we'll go over that next week. If you guys have any questions for us, you can get us on Twitter at The Thrive Pack. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh, good timing.
Thanks.